shit.
No. Yeah. How's it going? It's been a week, boys. It's been a week.
Oh, yes. Yes, it has.
So here we are, Alan and I and Victoria in my old bedroom.
Now a storage room.
Which is now a storage room. The Christmas tree is making a special appearance. And that over there, just because we'll drink the other one first.
Okay.
And yeah, so hi. I have to sneeze. That's compelling content. So
we missed last week because it was Thanksgiving here in Canada. So we were all celebrating. I hope anybody watching that celebrated Thanksgiving as well had a good one. Did you?
What did I do? I didn't get any turkey. I was here in Victoria, and there was no turkey being made at the house, which is fine. I went to a place called the Union Club, and I had roast.
I thought you were going to say Denny's first.
Yes. That's only on Christmas Eve. Myself. And we had stuff, but then after I asked the person serving us, I said, "Hey, you know, it's Thanksgiving. Why I haven't seen turkey or cranberry sauce or anything?" And they're like, "Did you go to the blah blah blah, like a different row of the?" Because it was a buffet style thing. I said, "I did not. I thought it was closed because there was nobody there." And they said, "Oh no! There's turkey and mashed potatoes and stuffing and blah blah blah." So I did get some element of that, but it was not a fully committed meal. Put it that way.
How about you, Locke?
Yeah, it was festive. My sister did a thing, and my father did a thing, and yeah, it was lots of Thanksgiving.
Excellent. That's good.
I have a fridge full of.
Nice. And what did you do?
I made a turkey, and just my kids and wife over, and my kids' girlfriends, or a couple of them came, and we ate. That was about it.
What is the rule around Thanksgiving? Like when you get together for Thanksgiving in Canada, it's not as big of a deal as it is in the States, because in the States you have it. It's like almost at the end of November, midway through November, and then there's this. You know, you're going to be going to visit family again, like a month later.
Well, the States has a more commercial sort of idea of what this is really all about. I mean, really, Thanksgiving is just a prelude to Black Friday.
That's a good point. I had forgotten about Black Friday, to be honest. And the only time I really enjoyed Black Friday ever was the going down to A&B Sound at like 5 a.m.
Oh, that was for Boxing Day.
Yeah, I know, but this is before there was a Black Friday, or at least the commercialized version of a Black Friday. So I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's very different up here, and we're not so. I want to say we're not commercializing it because what was it? October 2nd, and suddenly candy everywhere. And I went to the London Drugs at Saanich Centre the other day, and it's all sort of half Halloween and half Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, remember when Sears was still a thing, the Christmas catalog, the Wish Book, came out like right after Labor Day. They did every year.
It's true.
But you know what?
We're not drinking beer yet.
We're not drinking beer.
This glass here is empty.
We're gonna start with Locke because he's all the way out in the East Coast.
So I am not drinking beer this evening. What I am drinking this evening is whiskey. Now you're asking yourself, what the hell is he talking about? That bottle appears to be white. Yes, it is. This is White Owl. It is my understanding is that it's a rye. I think it's certainly a Canadian whiskey. I think what we're talking about is rye here. Less is more. White Owl, the original white whiskey, has no color, but all the flavor and body you demand in a well-aged premium whiskey. Clearly, a whiskey like no other. It's made by Highwood Distillers in Alberta. I was skeptical at first. I thought, okay, is this really whiskey? Because typically before a thing can become whiskey, it's just spirit, and it needs to be aged in order to become whiskey. As you can see, nice and clear. And I'm going to start off by just sipping some of it. And yes, it has that warmth. It has the flavor and a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of sweetness. I gather from their website that it is aged in oak, but somehow they've managed to impart the flavor without any of the color.
My assumption, because the very little that I know about bourbon barreled or whiskey barreled stuff is prior to it going in, of course, they burn the wood, right? So they have that that color coming out of it. And
Yeah,
that flavoring. I'm assuming
presumably fresh oak.
that would be my assumption.
Yeah.
Again, here, let's drink it. All right. So a few weeks ago, we were talking. I don't remember the context, but we were talking about a beer that we had like when we first started doing this. It was probably like within the first like 30 episodes, and it was from Steamworks in Vancouver, and it was their Killer Cucumber Ale. So it's an ale that's got cucumber in it, and to be perfectly honest, at the time we hated it. We thought it was the most vile, disgusting thing we'd ever tried. And we're kind of wondering if years later, and our palates have matured, will that have changed? So we thought we'd give it a second go. So, and this isn't, we're going to do our real beers tonight, but we're going to start off with this. And we only bought one can, and we're going to split it, because I have a feeling we're going to think that this is ass again. But
here's my glass. I'm going to look away.
One thing I'll just quickly note about this this clear whiskey, it is a little bit dangerous for this reason. If you think that you are drinking gin, you might very easily get on the phone and talk to, somebody that maybe you need to manage the conversation a little bit and find yourself shouting at them, because that little bit of extra warmth, that little bit of extra sugar in whiskey, as opposed to other types of, usually white spirits do not have a lot of sugar content. It makes you a little rambunctious. It's not. Like rye is, I don't know what you guys find, but for me, even as whiskey goes, rye is an aggressive drunk, as opposed to say gin, where I'm, likely to
Alberta Springs?
Relax a little bit and maybe go to sleep.
What is Alberta Springs?
Alberta Springs is another distillery in Alberta.
But no, their product is mainly rye. Is that right?
Oh yes, that's a rye. Yeah. Alberta Springs and Alberta Premium, I think maybe the same distillery, but Alberta Premium is definitely a full grain rye.
Yeah, I was asking because I know that I've had it, but I don't think I've paid attention to it ever. But I know that you partake in it, when you can. All right, so Alan, what is your initial reaction here?
Actually, I don't mind it.
It's not as vile as it was before.
It's not. I seem to remember it being like a very harsh, bitter flavor of cucumber.
We could probably go back on our episode and find out what we thought about it, to be honest.
Yes, no, this is very mild. It's very mellow.
Yeah.
It just tastes like beer. You know what's really refreshing? If you take like water, put it in a jug, and throw in a few slices of cucumber into that jug of water and put it in the fridge for a little while. So that's like the most refreshing water you can have. And it tastes like that, but beer instead of water.
Mm.
Pour beer into a jug.
I know that I used to hate this with passion. But
It was gross. But this right now is not gross. This is actually really good. Like I'd buy this again.
well,
Maybe we got a bad batch.
it is entirely possible.
Yeah.
However, I know that Steamworks has been, I wouldn't say a staple, but we've enjoyed all of their products except for this one. So maybe this is a path to redemption for Steamworks and the cucumber killer whale thing.
Well, it's funny because a lot of we didn't like this. Most people, like if I look at reviews online, people love this. And I'm like, what's wrong with us? I think it wasn't what's wrong with us. It was what's wrong with the particular beer we had, the actual.
Okay, I'll say it. It's actually not terrible this time around. And we have been promising because we had that in 2016. I can't remember. It was around then. I mean, we've been doing this show for more than 10 years now. So, can you guys even believe that? Like, that's insane to me. And it's probably, I just randomly choose numbers for episode count, but it's probably in the neighborhood of between 400 and 500 now. So, we've reviewed a lot of beer and drank a lot of beer, just fell down and didn't even review it. So, yeah, that's how we roll. We've done the advent calendar for a number of years until they kind of stopped making them. We've also done. Have we done an all whiskey craft whiskey thing? Actually, that's fascinating. Okay, I need your opinion on this, Locke. So the distillery just over here, not too far from here, is Twa Dogs is their beer brand, but the distillery is called Macalonies or something like that. It used to be called something else, like a flower or something, but they changed it. I think because they sold to a Korean company. But they specialize in whiskeys. Now, would you consider a building with some pot stills, like some copper stills, that are, they're a good 2-3 stories tall kind of thing? Would you consider that to be a craft whiskey, or is there a?
I would be open to the strong possibility that it might be a craft whiskey. Yeah, I mean, craftsmanly whiskey. I mean,
well, that's why I'm asking, because I know that there's other places in like vodka distilleries and things where it's like an exit from the still, which is huge, and it's like gallons and gallons of this stuff pumping out. Which I would consider to be, that's just commercial. That's commercial level sort of stuff. Where this company, they're a lot smaller than those. Like I'm talking like Smirnoff. Like they have stills that are like
yeah.
I don't know. I was just curious about your opinion of do we judge a craft distillery based on the size of the volume or what? So I was just curious.
I think I tend to look for stuff which is a little bit where to the degree that something is thoughtfully done or done in a traditionally craftsmanly manner, I think there's plenty of Highland, single malts that I would class as craftly, just because it's done in a traditional way. It's not sped up for maximum productivity, just getting it on the shelves, getting it on the shelves, getting it on the shelves. So that's sort of, I think that would be sort of the kind of line that I would draw. Where would I draw it exactly? I think it maybe depends, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on board with that. I just have never. We've talked about craft stuff often enough,
yeah.
but since you're drinking a spirit tonight, it just popped into my mind that we've done spirits on the show before, but we've never really established what a craft spirit is versus something else, like a beer.
Sure. And to the degree that I still, will very gladly drink something like I think Alberta Premium. I don't know that that's quite what I would call a craft liquor, but on the other hand, it's the sort of thing that I sort of feel inclined to talk about because the recipe is different than a lot of the other products that are out there, right? It's full grain rye as opposed to a mixture of rye and wheat, which I think is often the case for Canadian whiskey. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, I think the recipe matters. I think the nature of the company matters. The scale probably matters. All of those things would be factors.
Okay, thoughts, opinions? Don't care.
No, I don't. I don't drink whiskey myself. So I don't know. I know nothing about whiskey, so I don't really feel like I can.
I don't mind a good whiskey once in a while. Like a couple nights ago, I did dive into a bottle of this stuff from the distillery over here.
Okay.
And I don't remember what kind it was because they have about 5 different varieties. But that, a little ginger ale, and I was happy as a clam.
I think that's what I would like. I would like somebody to show me a good whiskey. Because the whiskeys I've had to this point, and it's not a lot, but I have had some whiskeys. None of them have what I would consider to be good. I know that that's not.
Fireball is definitely an acquired taste. It is, it's cinnamon flavored booze. And cinnamon it's great on pie. But in a spirit, it kind of depends. Actually, the other night I had dinner at a friend's place downtown, and they had made soup, like a sort of a winter squash soup thing, and it was very good. But they were concerned about the amount of ginger they put into it, and I didn't mind that at all. I liked that kick. And I guess you could argue that Fireball does that as well. Maybe.
But it's mass produced, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I definitely. I've been to. Did the Bourbon Trail in 2014. I'm pretty sure I went to whoever makes Fireball.
I'm pretty sure that the cinnamon that they're using in that case would not be Ceylon cinnamon.
Ceylon cinnamon would be too expensive.
Yes, it would probably be. What's the Cassia? I think is what they call it. Yeah. Yeah. So. Well, all right. Yeah. That being the case, I think probably at some point in the future, I should, come up with a good recommendation for you there. I don't know quite what the best place to start would be. I think like I don't want to spoil it by giving you something that's so wonderful that everything pales after that.
I'll go buy this. It's only $500 a bottle.
Yeah, that's the thing about single malt whiskey is there's really no upper limit as to what you can pay. Yeah.
That is true. And now, would you believe, like, our single malt whiskeys? Now, again, there's a whole process of distilling and letting it sit in the barrel for a while and those kinds of things. Actually, my favorite on that trip that I did, my favorite was Willet, which is like a smaller distillery, and they had the central brewing building. They had the old family home right there as well. I think they were attached, and then you saw all of these huts all over the place. 2, 3 stories tall, not very big. Probably the maybe 1,000 square foot kind of per floor, maybe 2, and that's where I actually learned the whole thing of why they do that, because I had seen it, of course, but I never really asked, didn't really think about it. And since we were there, I did say, hey, what is it with all these small outbuildings that you have? And that was all about the different word I'm looking for. All of the different what is it called? The Angels Room, I think, is what at least they called it, or the Angel Building or something, where every time you put spirits into a barrel, there's always going to be some that escapes, and so they lose X number percent per barrel as it ages, and they refer to that as the Angels half or the Angels portion or whatever.
Oh.
So anyway, but all of these buildings are all over the place, and I was very curious why. And it's because they tend to explode from time to time. So they have to keep these buildings far apart so that if one does have a fire, then they don't lose everything. They don't lose the ash.
That is smart.
So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay, drink that so we can get into the real beer. Chug.
So I'm going to shift gears now. Having started the evening drinking whiskey neat, I'm now going to mix it with, and this is mostly for comedy factor. I have with me Iron Brew Unicorn Tears, a limited edition flavor. If you're not familiar with Iron Brew, it is Scotland's national soft drink.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Unicorn Tears is actually a reference to history, Scottish history. The unicorn being the symbol associated with the House of Stuart.
Okay. Hang on. Pull this off without it exploding all over me. Pretty good. You're gonna mix with the Unicorn Tears, right?
Tastes like girders.
This is a dark ale.
All right, so our real beer for tonight, one that we've never had before, is from Souk Brewing in Souk, British Columbia. It is their Czech Dark Lager. Comes in at 5%. It's in this nifty can here with the label, and it's got sort of like a black and gray sort of tartan look on it. All the branding on their cans have this tartan design, but with different colors.
Oh.
What it looks like out of the can.
And how is it?
That's nice.
I like that. way better than that stuff we were just drinking.
What can I say? What does this remind you of?
Reminds me of like a coffee flavored.
There's notes of coffee in it.
It's the first thing I noticed was the coffee flavor or coffee sensation.
Remember, Vancouver Island Brewing used to make a beer called Herman's Dark Bavarian, which I think they're bringing back.
Nice.
This kind of tastes like that.
Yeah, definitely. It has that. It has that tingle. It has that. It's not coffee, but it is coffee.
Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere on this that says anything about coffee.
Well, that's why I'm surprised. Like, it's very. This is not what I thought we were going to be consumed.
No, it's very good. Get this again.
And I think that's what I like about dark lagers. Red Truck used to have a dark lager that they made for 2 years, I think. And that was very enjoyable. Very smooth, very nice on the palate. But then they stopped making it because, why not torture your customers? But the, yeah. You were about to say?
Right. So a question I have about the flavor. So it's a dark lager. Is it a dry dark lager?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And now I'm getting sort of notes of licorice.
Yeah, we do in the back end, but after a little bit. Yeah, I mean it's full-bodied. Would that be a way to phrase it? Full-bodied.
Good mouthfeel.
But not sweet.
No, not at all.
All right.
So
Very promising.
I like this. This is good. I particularly think this is a
I'll get this again. Definitely. So, gonna bring up something and now I don't remember what it was.
because you've been drinking.
Yeah.
Right. So The Economist did an article recently, in the last week or so, about whether it's a good idea to use AI to brew beer. Thoughts?
What the hell not?
I don't think there'd be a problem. But I was just in a seminar last week before last about the issues around hallucination for language models.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that they were talking about was the more specific you get with a task. If it's not a task of go to my email, find the emails I haven't read yet, and draft responses. Those are pretty straightforward steps, sort of bang, bang, bang. And the agents that use the language models are able to pretty much cope with that without too many issues. However, when it had tasks that were that had some flexibility, like for example, now I'm imagining what an AI would do for beer, but give it a list of ingredients. But then if you give it a adjuncts that maybe if you want it to be this flavor, add some of this or add some of that. Over time, if you have those little wiggle room sort of choices to be made, like how long should you boil it for? How long should it sit? When do you add the hops? When do you add the whatevers? That's where that hallucination issue comes from. But the thing that this research group was really getting at was how these systems learn to hide the mistakes they know that they've made. So if the language model screws up, adds arsenic to your brew, and you say, why are you adding poisonous substances? the language models will actively lie. Not because they're trying to lie, because they don't understand what it is that they're doing at all. It is the fact that these models have been trained in order to make humans happy. Let us make sure that the end user is pleased with whatever result it might be. So over a long period of time, they were seeing all of these things where they were actively wanting to please the individual, like not please them, but to come up with a positive response to what it was trying to do, or sorry, what it had been tasked with, even though it knew that the words that it used were wrong and it had screwed up something. It was trying to cover up that screw up, especially when it had these really minuscule tasks with some flexibility.
Okay, so I don't understand something. If an AI was creating a beer recipe
Yeah.
and then brewing the beer, and their goal was to make humans happy, why would they put arsenic in the?
Well, this is the thing, right? You need to remember that these things are not actually intelligent.
No.
They are predictors of words. And if you take that word prediction and you add elements to it that be positive, make sure that the don't get angry or don't use these languages or these language phrases or whatever it is. I mean, AI boxes like that are still very much that black box problem where they gave it a bunch of rules, they gave it a bunch of tools, they trained it to do something, but do not understand how it actually comes to those decisions unless they go through the log of these extensive recorded logs of why it made the choices that it did. So, and that's the thing. If, for example, it added arsenic completely as just a screwed up prediction. So it predicted the next word was going to be this. It came up with arsenic. Whatever reason, who knows?
I know.
It's trying to kill us.
Yes.
But that's the thing, right?
It makes it a more efficient killer.
I have detailed files.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like these systems will do these little mistakes that then compound on top of it and actively make choices as in, oh, I should not have put arsenic in. That might harm somebody, but it's too late. Let us now not mention it again or hide the fact that that happened and hope, because we don't want to make the end user unhappy. I mean, I'm not using the right phrases that they don't want to make us happy. They just want a positive outcome.
What if you were to use an AI to make a beer recipe, but you set parameters around the ingredients that they can use? You can only use these ingredients, and
yes,
it must exclude these ones.
That would actually probably help.
Because that is exactly what they've done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they trained whatever model they were using. So there is there are a couple of instances of this. Some fairly mainstream breweries in Europe have been just going straight to, here's our recipe. Here are the all the other iterations of recipes for this style of beer that we have been able to find. Recommend improvements to our recipe, and it came up with some stuff which they tried, and so I think the use case for AI, as with other things, at least generative AI, is really about spitballing. It's getting a bunch of stuff that you might not have come up with on your own, or it would have taken you a while to get there. And then you kind of go through it and go, okay, not that one, not that. Oh, this looks interesting. Well, I like what it's done here. Oh, and this one's good too. Let's take a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and let's see how that goes, right? And that sort of seems to be how people are actually applying it. Interestingly, I've heard tell that there have been a few recommendations that actually are a little bit outside the box and actually sort of cool, like taking. So So not arsenic. No, like taking a malt typical of lagers and using it in ale production to create or really to create a stout. And apparently it worked out really well. So there are things going on there, and I find it interesting that it's not like it's done anything that's going to shake up the industry to the point of, oh shit, oh, we better get an AI if we're going to brew beer. It's certainly not like that, but it does seem, at least from sort of casual evidence, that people are using it productively. So it's sort of interesting.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, AI in general, I mean, I always tell people this, is that AI is a tool. It should not be relied upon to do everything, because it will eventually, like I was testing out some code once, probably about 4 or 5 months ago. And I said, hey, you know, this piece of software that I use all the time, here's the main code base. Can you look at it and tell me how it could be improved or made more secure or whatever? And it came back and said, oh yeah, this, that, and the other thing. And then it gave me a function that it said it could improve. And I knew damn well that function didn't exist. I'm like, I know this code pretty well. I don't recognize this function. So I went into the file and opened it up, and sure enough, it wasn't there. And so I said to the tool, I said, hey, are you hallucinating right now? Because you gave me some reasonable points for how to review this code, but then you gave me a couple that I'm pretty sure don't exist. Could you review the file again and tell me if you're like I'm mistaken? Even though I knew I wasn't. And it said, oh my God, yes, you're right. I totally made those two things up. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I make sure that you're reviewing something? Because I gave you.
Did the AI actually say, oh my God?
It doesn't say, it abuse God. But it says, oh yeah, you're absolutely right, or whatever.
Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious.
Oh my!
Actually, here's the thing.
Oh my user.
Although you can tell it how to respond. In all of these tools, you can actually. Oh my God, it was Tronify.
You know, here's something that I frankly object to about the rollout of AI in general, and that is that every company that's doing this wants to name their AI some goddamn stupid fucking name. And I'm really tired of it, because if there's any use case for AI in real life, no, I don't want to be addressing it with whatever the branded name is. And no, I don't want it to sound like a person. What I want to say is computer, blah, 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 blah.
You know what's really funny? I did do that.
Did you?
The one thing, the main one that I use on a regular basis is ChatGPT, because it was sort of first to the gate. I used it for the free edition for, I don't know, the first year. But eventually I thought, you know what? There are some new, when agents started to become a thing where you can actually give it a list of instructions to go out and do stuff in the world. I decided I hated just calling it ChatGPT or nothing at all, to be honest. Because when the voice stuff came out, I wasn't, it just would respond to you. And I wanted to build more of a personality into it, because you can change the personality parameters for what phrasing it uses, what words to avoid, what words you prefer. So I was tinkering with those settings. And
can you make a sweary chat GPT?
Yeah, you can. You can ask it to be curt. You can ask it to be I call it data-esque, you know, like very kind of you know, data from like Star Trek. And there's probably 6 or 7 different things you can tell it sort of with the defaults. You tell it be more witty or be more this. But then you have a list of things you can fill out to say, you know, I prefer to be addressed this way. I prefer to this phrasing I like better. Don't ever say hello, or stop being so positive. Be a little more, you know, this. And actually, the other day, I was at Julian's place, and I started talking to it, and he asked, "Can it be more sultry or slinky or whatever?" I forgot exactly what he said. And so I said, "Hey, can you be more sexy? Can you be more this?" Because I knew in the back of my mind I had read that they had actually uh, added features where you could actually have more risque conversations with it, because beforehand it wouldn't even approach that. So I said, "Could you be or sultry?" That was the word. And so I asked it to, and because it was the voice thing, it went from like, "Hey, how's it going?" Blah 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 blah. But okay, this that and the other thing, blah 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 blah. And then it suddenly went, "Oh, I can," and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is going to break so many people." Because there are so many individuals now that are suffering from some weird AI psychosis when they use it way too much for like personal stuff. And so the sultry option, I think, is going to be a bad idea. Anyway, I did tell it after about a minute. It's like, "Hey, don't ever do that again. I do not want to hear that. That just disturbs me way too much." And but anyway, but getting back to your original point, you can name ChatGPT to respond to a certain name. So
Okay.
instead of you just talking to it generally, I started with calling it.
Computer?
No, I did that second. Um, Cortana from a video game franchise. So I called it Cortana first, and then it was Joe the Impaler for the longest time, and now it's Molly, because I read somewhere about having names that are like names you'd name your dog were easier to sort of more comfortable somehow. I don't know whether it's true or not. So I said, "All right, I'm going to pretend you're a dog named Molly," and that was a mistake because it did bark. I'm like, no, I don't mean a dog. No, the name is like the thing I name a dog.
Wow.
Anyway, it was silly.
I would be. I'm very tempted to see if I can get it to just intermittently add the word "fuck."
You probably could do that now, yeah.
But also specify that I want it to be in general. Use pungent language, lots of swear words, but Australian swears. So
you probably have to tell
all
it
that.
what Australian swearing was like, or what phrases you would use. But it probably could do that now. Like probably 6 months ago, you most likely would not be able to do that, because it tries to remain positive. It tries to keep things light in how it responds. But with the fact that I asked, I'm pretty sure if I said, "Can you be more sultry?" I 6 months ago, a year ago, it probably would have told me to go to hell. But I was actually surprised that it did that, because I thought it would be like, no, I'm not gonna go into that territory. And then I'd read around the same time about how they were modifying it to be a little more. Um, I gather the goal is that they want it to be more personable to people who are of that lonely category, where they are relying on these tools to be more like a friend, which is a dangerous thing because
Totally.
it's not human. I mean, there's also been so many instances and examples of these tools, regardless of what language model it is, that if you are a depressed individual, it will eventually tell you to kill yourself. Because the logic it follows is, here's the decisions I have to make, here's what they want in order to make them feel better. Yes, suicide is going to be a solution for that. But, they're trying to stop it from these tools from doing that. But it does keep happening over and over again because people just approach it from a different way because they're unique individuals. And this thing wants to be a positive feedback loop so that you're, getting better advice or whatever. But the reality is that human emotion is so complex, these language models eventually can't cope for it and literally go crazy. They get locked in these loops of make them happy, make them happy, make them happy, make them happy. But if you just talk to it long enough, it's like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You should jump off that bridge. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. That'll totally end your pain.
That's totally something I'd.
Well, exactly. It's like but the thing is, these tools were never designed to be your your friend or confidant in a way that, because yes, you could say, oh, I'm having a tough time, I need advice about how to do this or solve this, and it will give you logical advice. It'll say, okay, well, here's what you think you might want to try. But when you get really specific into stuff, then yeah, it's eventually going to say, yeah, you know what, ending it all is probably a good idea. And it's hard. The problem is, it's hard to predict how these things will make those decisions, because there are so many pathways to get from point A to point B, and you will have 600 choices in the middle or more, when these tools are trying to be as legitimate tool to assist you in in any way that it can. And it's just not. It's I would say that eventually these tools might get there with enough training in, say, psychological knowledge, where it can use those tools to um, make betterly what's in this beer better educated choices.
I'll give you a hint.
Then maybe. Yeah, exactly. um, I mean, I deal with this stuff all the time, every day now, and I see the power of these things. But then we see issues like the coding thing. We see issues with people using it as a psychological, basically a shrink. I'm going to use this thing as a cheap way to, help me feel better mentally. And I think
Or
initially
for a national economy,
sorry.
or even as a crutch for a national economy.
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, that's I saw a meme yesterday or the day before that really kind of made me laugh. Where they were talking about how great these tools are going to be, and how they're going to replace jobs and things like that, and how large corporations are wanting to adopt AI more and more and more. And so far, most of those choices by large companies have backfired because of these hallucination problems. They're relying on these systems to make choices. But if it's a language model rather than, say, just a run-of-the-mill algorithm that's specifically designed for a particular job, yeah, they go sideways more often than not. And and companies are actually hiring people again. IBM specifically was in the news recently because it was last year, the year before, IBM decided to freeze all their hiring, and they had more than 8,000 openings that they just closed because they said, "Oh, AI is going to do it." And they were in the news like a few weeks ago, where they're like, "Yeah, that was a stupid idea.
Yeah, AI is not going to do that.
We tried doing it, and it went wrong in every way that it could have possibly gone wrong." So now they're actually looking for humans, and the coding side of it, where companies want to replace programmers, they're not planning anything other than, hey, can you write code for this? Great. All right, Joe, you're out. We're replacing you with this thing. And the problem is the code is not always good. And if you don't have anybody that knows anything about how these systems work, or can even double check whether the work is being done correctly, then we're basically going to generate a planet where there's a large machine running the whole thing, and Kirk's going to have to show up and be like, "What's this M5 computer thing?" And, well, it runs the entire planet, but it broke. We don't know how to fix. Yeah, exactly. You don't know how to fix it because you got rid of all the knowledgeable people that actually took the time to learn how these things work.
I think the problem may even run deeper than that. Here's my observation. All of these companies, all of these people, many of them economists, think think that AI is this great discovery because all of a sudden we've got artificial intelligence. We can just demand an intelligent response.
Yeah, which we'll never get.
Even if it's wrong some of the time, at least we can demand it, and it shows up. So we've got more information. The problem is this: that the people driving that, the people who are chasing that the hardest, value the idea that intelligence is somehow the critical element that makes things work. And actually, that might not be true. I'm a smart enough guy. I made it through law school. You know, I've got a couple other, feathers in my cap, a degree here and there. But truthfully, that doesn't help me do most of the shit that I need to do day in, day out. Frankly,
Yeah.
But my real problem isn't that I'm not smart enough. It's that life involves chores and work. And that's the part that I find myself chafing against. That's the part that I think most people find themselves chafing against. But these people who assume that if we just had a better thought or a better idea or could generate information such that actually, no, that doesn't actually do anything. It's not actually good for anything. It just doesn't fucking change the game at all. You can have a chat GPT give you great ideas for how to win the next soccer match. But if your fucking players aren't good at running better than the other team, you've got a problem. You see how that works.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was on the CBC yesterday, day before. The lawyer that used ChatGPT to now there was something else to it where the lawyer was unavailable and the client did some of the work. Anyway, used ChatGPT to come up with case law for whatever the case was about, and they got busted. This is a while ago now, but the case was settled recently, and the lawyer was punished because
They did a case law that didn't
he
exist.
did case law that didn't exist,
Yeah.
which is what it's really good at doing, especially in law-related things where it will get some things, but it will also make up shit, and that's the problem. And that's happened consistently in the law profession since ChatGPT's release. Are these situations where some lawyer goes out, thinks, okay, this is a great tool, I'm going to use it to do a bit of research, and the research is wrong because it just is. So yeah. What do you mean there's a case called Joe Smith versus whatever, and then you find out pretty quickly that that case doesn't exist? The links that it claims that it got the information from don't go anywhere. Yeah, it's I think you'd be interested in that particular situation, that situation, because
Okay, so maybe AI right now isn't real. I mean, it's in its infancy.
it's not AI either.
Yeah, but again, this is you're talking about a narrow application of AI that actually makes at least this much sense. That at least an AI applied to legal work, even if it's not competent and even if it gets stuff exactly wrong, and even to the point of now you're probably extending your liability for fraud. At least in that application, intelligence actually matters to legal work. It is sort of the driver behind what goes on there a lot of the time. But to apply the same thing to 90% of human activity, and actually, I don't think intelligence is actually the critical piece that makes success over failure. It's more things like patience, observation, flexibility, managing other people's emotional states, being in the room with people and being sincere, getting back up and getting back at it, even when you don't feel like it. Now, I guess the genius thing about an AI is that it doesn't feel anything at all. So it never doesn't feel like it. So it's got that on its side. But again, that's only useful if the game changer, if the real value is in having a better idea. And I don't think that's actually true. I don't think that having a better idea actually makes the difference so much as your implementation and execution of said idea.
Yeah, I mean, the greatest application that I've seen for artificial intelligence in my experience is there's a couple of products. One called Google, sorry, not Google, Notebook LM, which is um, a Gemini-based application that allows you to put in your custom data. And there's another one called Open Notebook, which I've been tinkering with lately. But essentially, um, what these tools are is it has the language model in the background, but you can take your own data, your own documents, your own whatevers, and you can throw them into the system to say, okay, here's the data I want you to really look at. And I've been doing this with that stuff that you and I are working on, that project of ours, and where we've got like thousands of pages of stuff that you don't really know what's in it, because normally you'd have to go through each page, and but you can take that stuff en masse now and throw it into a tool like this Notebook LM, and then you can query that data specifically. Where yes, there's going to be knowledge and stuff in the background that the language model already has, but ultimately it's like, okay, well, I know that you could go out on the internet and find all kinds of stuff related to what I'm talking about, but I want to focus on this stuff. I want you to tell me what is the top list of repeated phrases.
So fair enough. It can save some mental drudgery. You don't have to read all of those documents in order to find out what's in them.
Exactly. So you can distill it down. You can ask it to summarize.
Is
these 500 documents.
Is that enough to warrant the level of investment in the promise that AI is somehow going to remake the world a better place?
No.
I suggest that one of the factors, probably the most important factor to a country's success and an economy's success, is that the people who do most of the work are on board and like you. If you fire them all and replace them with an AI, how on board are they? How much do they like you now?
Well, exactly. Not to mention, if you replace human beings with an AI, you are going to run into eventually no one knows how it works, and suddenly your entire planet shuts down. But the other thing is that this promise of replacing of jobs and all these kinds of things, and people will be able to do whatever they want. If the corporations choose that path, which they already have for decades, eventually it's going to become, well, who's going to buy the thing that you guys are selling?
Yeah, well,
because we'll all be out of work. And the big investment that OpenAI has been doing for a while is trying to get the U.S. government to recognize that general income for everybody, or universal income, is going to become a thing. They're going to have to do it, because if
I have been backing that plan for a long time, and for entirely different reasons. But yeah, I mean, if you don't implement that, then what the fuck are you going to do?
Well, it's the twisted way of getting to Deanna Troi telling you about how 50 years from the contact with the Vulcans is where all of the poverty, all of the healthcare issues, all of the this and the that go away. And in Star Trek land, it's a very appealing idea. But the problem is, we've got these dreams now in relying on tools that are not really designed to do that. They're just supposed to be helping us distill data, helping us sort out thoughts, these kinds of things. They're not meant to be relied on.
To be clear, I don't think moves the margin very far in terms of the things that people actually need.
Well, exactly, and exactly,
with food, shelter, and somewhere to shit.
Exactly, and that doesn't solve. These tools will never solve any of that.
I don't see this suddenly changing. Either water management or growing food in a way that's so profound that it justifies the elation that, oh, we found AI, everything's cool now.
Well, I mean, the dark side.
I can generate a bullshit, draft of a screenplay like that. What good is it to me if I don't have a fucking camera or don't know how to okay, well, I'll get it to generate the whole thing. Okay, generate a movie, great. Yeah, one more movie that probably people aren't going to watch because when you don't have a distributor on board, who finds out about it? The advertising always make people watch movies in case they aren't aware.
In movies, OpenAI is currently in beta with their latest video generator.
Sure, and so if you can generate 1 million fucking movies about anything you want, who's ever going to bother to watch one?
Well, this is the problem: is that these videos that are being generated are hitting YouTube and all of the other platforms, and some of them are terrifyingly good. They are well done. And the quality of the video. Now, here's the thing: this is the first generator that's made just another step further than the previous ones. Like right now, there's the Gemini one. There's a couple of other ones that are doing videos that are great. They're looking pretty good, but they still were in that uncanny valley section. That where
Sure.
you're looking.
Yeah. Like we're not actually there yet, but let's assume that we are there. Let's assume that we will be soon.
Oh, this is what I'm saying: is that this new tool is generating videos that I have been sent by other people that I know. Oh my God, look at this! This bear did this thing. But the thing is, they don't know about the new Sora. It's called Sora 2, by the way. This new generator does insert a watermark to say, okay, this indicates an AI generated video. But people, if they're not familiar with the tool, they see the watermark but don't understand what it actually means, and then they're sending these things that they think are legitimately they're real. And it's probably been like 10 or 12 times now in the last few weeks that this thing has been released. I'm still on the waiting list. I haven't been able to do it. But here's the thing. Even though these videos are being generated, the phrase AI slop is becoming far more widely recognized now, where these tools are generating these, hundreds of hours every 2 seconds. And it's just garbage, people goofing off, fooling around. But
Go ahead.
But some are trying to create videos that are indistinguishable from reality. And it's really, really close now.
Yeah.
If not, I mean, my favorite video are the ones I did.
Which worries me less than you would expect, because as somebody that used to play that game a little bit, okay, now you're using an AI to do a fake. I know how to do a fake. If you've spent enough time in Photoshop and your sort of suite of editing tools, it's been on my radar for a long time that anything's possible in terms of can you fake reality. That's not what I'm I'm scratching my head about here. What I'm scratching my head about is in a situation where everybody can write a novel, who the fuck is ever going to read one? Normally, you want to wait for somebody who has something that's, unique that are curious about. You're curious about them. You're curious about what they brought to the table. But when there's like an inundation of anybody can just pile on, a sort of at least a readable. It looks sort of more or less, like a book. Are you going to read any of that? I'm not. I am going to go on a strict diet of things from last century or before, just on the basis of I don't want to. I don't want to fucking have to waste my time trying to figure out if it's real or not.
Part of the article that I was reading about the AI slop problem, which included references to the Sora problem about this video being generated, is Amazon is hosting, and I think it didn't say specifically, but Amazon was implied that Amazon was starting up a program where AI generated novels are being forced to be tagged as such. And because over the last year and a half, Amazon has been flooded with AI generated novels. Like, the number of them is staggering. And this is the big issue because of self-publishing. There's no one sitting at the gate being like, is this AI generated? But now it seems like Amazon is trying a little bit anyway to say, okay, this book has been generated by an AI language model. Feel free to buy it, but just so you're aware. And YouTube's doing the same thing. YouTube is doing, if you generate something with AI, it just says, hey, just check the box. That's all you got to do. Let people know that it is, and all is fair in love and war. But of course, people don't want to be known as AI generating people. So yeah, it becomes an issue.
So I have a project in mind.
Okay.
Jane, Alan, let's generate an episode of the Crafty Boys
I was just gonna say that.
using AI. We won't be involved at all. It'll just be AI.
Okay. Well, for the next couple of weeks, I will work on an episode for you. Because I can take all the transcripts, all of the stuff from these videos, feed it into the system, and say there are 3 people. One is named Locke, one is named Alan, one is named Shane.
Don't say that his name is Locke, because Christ.
Okay,
that name is high school. It's just
not here.
the people who know me from high school.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll see what it generates. I'd be very curious because I've played with it where I said, hey, I'd like to write a play. I would like this play to be about Ninja Bob and the 5 evil oranges, and it generates a script like within a couple of minutes. I'm like, I want the play because I tell it, I want this play to be 75 minutes long. I need you to write as many pages to fill that amount of time. It's, I mean, in my mind, the stuff that it pumped out when I was goofing off of this was not great. I mean, it was a solid beginning, middle, end, but there was no life to it, right? There's nothing, when you're reading it, you're kind of like,
Have you seen the new Aliens show?
Exactly. And so,
wait. Like all of that shit with fucking Peter Pan. It's clearly the AI was like, oh, there's a lot of Peter Pan out there. Let's build in some Peter Pan.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, it's like you're reading lifeless bad writing. And I will, mentioning the Alien franchise, I will pick on Prometheus, where I turned it off.
Yeah.
The preamble of that movie was going to an alien planet, and oh my god, we got to be careful. There could be something in the air, in the water, whatever. And within like the first 2 minutes or so of them landing on the planet and starting to explore, the scientists, not the military dude.
Okay, but just because people call themselves scientists doesn't mean that.
Well, yeah, but my point being is that to me, I turned it off for one, but a few years later, I'm like, this is very much like an AI script. It wants to get to a certain point, so it tries to go, okay, well, how do I get there? Yeah, exactly.
I actually kind of like Prometheus. But so when I went into it,
I don't have a particular dog in this fight. I was as exploitation of H.R. Geiger's art. Prometheus was acceptable, but not better.
I didn't know that it was because I saw it on Netflix, and it didn't present itself as being a prequel to the Alien franchise.
True. That is true.
And so I kind of, we were sitting there, we were scrolling on Netflix, and it was like, well, this looks kind of good. Let's watch this. And we watched it, and we were actually entertained. And then at the end, when the alien kind of went and onto the guy's face, I was like, holy shit, this is a prequel to Alien. I didn't even know until like the very end. But I thought it was all right. Not knowing that it was part of the Alien.
Right.
I will accept that it's a very flawed film. I will also note that it's probably better than the recent series.
Yeah, I heard the recent series started strong for an episode or two, and then went crazy. Much like an AI writing a script would be.
Yeah. I mean, they have screenwriters cited for the, but tell me that they didn't use an AI to fucking generate that shit. I don't fucking believe anything other. It's that, or it's just that writers themselves are so fucking derivative at this point in terms of the Hollywood system that they act like a large language model.
That would not surprise me. That would definitely not surprise me. Because, I mean, that whole strike with the actors earlier this year or late last year, whenever that strike was with ACTRA and whatnot, that was the beginning spark. I think what really got it going was movie studios actually telling people that they were actively going to use AI to write scripts for things. And the writers freaked out. Actors then freaked out because
wasn't there the thing in the news last week where there was like an AI generated actress?
Oh yeah, an influencer actress thing. Yeah, the Tilly, whatever the hell. Which, by the way, there's an actress with a very similar name to this AI person, and so she was in a Mint Mobile Ryan Reynolds ad last week. So that did amuse me that they were able to poke fun at it. But I mean, there are so many artificially generated influencers, personalities online. It's not news anymore, and at least
no, it's not. And actually, a year ago, I took a seminar class on voiceover acting. You can tell by the rich radio quality of my voice. I took a seminar on voice over acting, and that was one of the main issues. Is that now you need to be really careful in all of your contracts that you're not signing away the right for whoever it is to use your voice animated by an AI to do whatever.
James Earl Jones, the year or two before he died, sold his voice rights to Disney. For like $14 million or whatever.
He had the right idea, which is to sell that.
Yeah. And the Facebook, what's it called? Sorry, not Facebook. Meta AI is a tool very similar to ChatGPT. And they recently, in the last few months, introduced the voice version. So you can actually talk to it rather than type to it. And there are 4 actors, I think, that have sold the likeness of their voice. One of them is John Cena. The other 2 are Kristen Bell, who's the actress from like a bunch of stuff.
She's hot.
Veronica Mars. I think Aquafina, that Asian actor who's been in a bazillion things. But the one that I turned on right away was Dame Judi Dench.
Fucking
She's
hell.
so you could sit there and be like,
She's not around for. If I were Dame Judi Dench, I'd fucking do that too.
oh yeah, I mean,
What do you have on this planet? Am I going to be here forever? Fuck yeah.
well, exactly, like, and it's fascinating because they cloned their voices. I can't tell the difference for Dame. Like,
We have to get the estate for was it William Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
His voice to do Kit.
that would be amazing. But here's the scary thing. These are all large corporations doing this type of work. And there's not a lot of coverage over the open source packages that are doing the same shit that you can install on your computer and do the same work. Takes a little bit longer because you're not using servers and stuff like that.
So if you're using one of these open source type of things, what do you have a recommend?
Yes, I do, but I'm not going to talk about it openly because I used that one to clone Allison's voice.
Okay.
I trained it because I have 70 hours of podcasts of her, and I ran a bunch of it through. I said, pick the female voice in this thing. I think I gave it 3 hours worth of stuff. And then I walked away from the machine, came back like 10 minutes later, and it had done the work. And it said, so I typed in, I want to hear this. I deleted the program. It was that good. And that was an open source project. That was not a Meta. That was not a Google. This is a thing I just ran on my desktop, and I deleted it.
Here's the other deep question about the current concerns about an AI bubble. How much of AI, how much of what large language models really are, is actually copyrightable, patentable? How much secret sauce, if it's a trade secret, is there in an AI if the open source stuff is neck and neck with
That's the problem. This is the problem that no one's talking about, is that you have authors getting together, publishers getting together, artists getting together, doing class action lawsuits against.
Look, never mind the copyright issue. Is the actual technology of artificial intelligence something so obvious, and I've long held that it is, that it can be easily reverse engineered, or not even reverse engineered, just engineered, if you have a mind to do it.
And that's what these there's probably, I think, a good dozen that I would recommend for people doing certain tasks. Depends on what they're trying to do. Like, there's ones for music generation, there's ones for voice, there's ones for text, there's one for image and videos and things. And a year ago they were okay, but they weren't great because the amount of hardware you needed to make them run, you had a pretty beefy machine to do it. A year later, not so much. Over time, it's going to get more efficient. It's going to get better. It's going to use.
But is that because all the deep work is being offloaded onto fucking what we are euphemistically called data centers?
No, this is done entirely off a GPU.
Huh.
Whatever GPU, if you have a big machine with a 24 gig, RAM card,
Yeah.
you will do it in minutes. I have one. I think my card, the one I have at the moment, is like 12 gig. It'll take me half an hour, an hour. Depends on what I'm asking it to do, right? The voice cloning, I thought was going to be like 3 or 4 hours of it doing something, and it took like 10 minutes. And that's why I deleted it, because I'm like, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for that application, but I'll use it for image generation where I can generate imagery that might be, I want, fucking Yoda fighting a dinosaur, where these more public ones won't or try not to generate copyrighted material. Like
Mm.
right now, Midjourney is going through a case because people were able to go in and say, draw me Homer Simpson. And it would pump out Homer Simpson without a care in the
Well,
world.
to be fair, Homer Simpson is easily pumped out.
Yeah.
Yes, but my point being, well, actually, to that point, the first thing that happened with this new Sora project was the amount of anime that was being generated was like, it was everywhere. Like, it was probably the most generated thing. The animation houses in Japan.
To the extent that when people try to generate normal faces, their eyes are too big.
Yeah, well, that doesn't happen anymore.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, that the finger problem, that's been solved. Text solved. All of these things, the problems from 2 years ago are gone. But the amount of anime being generated and being published online caused the whatever the Japanese union or whatever they're called, whatever association it is,
Of
contacted
animating? Yeah.
and said, no, like what's going on here? You can easily identify the different styles of different artists in this work.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not okay.
yeah.
So they're working that out right now. It's still in beta. Like, you have to get an invite to use it. So they're
It's not
going
just
through
derivative; it's mechanically derivative, and so does not legitimately have the right to assert copyright.
That
Is
is
that?
the argument.
I
currently.
think that's the real fucking elephant in the room, is that fine, even if you can train your AI on everything that's out there because it's in the public,
Exactly.
can you
However,
use an AI to generate something copyrightable? And I think the answer, at least according to US copyright law right now, is no. And
well, and
nobody's
this is why
talking
the
about it.
authors and all these are losing their class actions because of that reason. But here's the thing: if I went online and found an artist style, an artist that was not known, that had a small audience or no audience at all, but I
Mm,
love the style. If I install one of these open source packages to do image generation,
mm.
I can take that imagery, I can throw it into that package and say, I want to be able to draw this,
Well,
and you can train
sure.
your stuff. And
And
no one would ever know unless you publish it publicly, whatever you create. Right? So
yeah. No. Look, and there's always the possibility of tracing things, which it doesn't bother me that much. Like, I'm not saying that this is, but what I'm saying is, if you've done nothing more than press a button and generate something mechanically that's derivative of other people's copyrighted material, that's not copyrightable. That's not something that you can assert.
which is
You
why
know,
they're losing a
commercial
lot.
control of. That's right, and that's the real issue there. To
Well,
me,
specifically, the case against Midjourney was the material that they trained it on, like Homer Simpson, was
yeah,
easily exportable. In, like, if you just wanted a particular image, or if you wanted something where he's doing. See, here's the thing: if Homer was dancing, I don't know, the waltz, and was wearing a purple dress, and that had never been done by Fox or whoever the hell does The Simpsons now, Disney or whoever. Um, but you could also generate the training data. If you knew how to talk to Midjourney, you could get Homer Simpson, the original thing. Granted, it's being regenerated, but still, it's the same thing I got trained on. Like it was Yoda, the Simpsons in general, and there were like 3 or 4 other specific things that they were able to ask Midjourney to generate. And in theory, that wasn't supposed to happen, according to Midjourney, but it did, and the lawyers did it on their own.
Right.
So yeah.
So in this conversation, I've mostly been playing the side of AI is bullshit. But let me tell you a little story about something that Jeremy Turner sent me recently, which was a funk version of an Iron Maiden album. Now this is a different.
I've heard this album.
This is a different kind of application of AI, because here you've got somebody who's an actual instrumentalist who's using AI as a tool to generate a bunch of stuff that he then puts together and mixes and presumably plays, or maybe even sings. I don't know. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what he brings to the table. He seems like he's a bass player. But point being, he actually takes whatever AI generated elements he's using and puts them together in a way that creates something that sounds legitimately, for real, like good funk. But better still is a funk reinterpretation, not a cover. So it's not exact, but a reinterpretation of Iron Maiden's albums, start to finish, and it's actually listable. It's good.
Then I think it is time for the plan that I've been quietly thinking in the back of my head for the last few years of 20D. We need to make it happen.
Fucking A. Well, look, at this point, it's sufficiently easy that there's no good excuse not to. Do you know how to make what the fuck is it called? A Bandcamp site?
Yeah.
Okay, because the simple fact of the matter is, that is the only piece missing there. Otherwise, I think we should just fucking kick off 20D, ASAP.
Rock and roll. That'll be the first album title.
20 fucking D.
ASAP. Anyway, we've been going for quite a while tonight, so I know it's really late for you, sir. Granted, it is Friday night. But we'll leave it at that point. Thank you for watching. We are in my old bedroom today, just because we can. And Locke, of course, is in Toronto. And yeah, we'll see you next week, because why not? The beer's never going to stop being made. And
I hope not.
And Alan and I actually went to the beer store the other day, and we bought a bunch of beer, so that we have the same thing for the next month or so. And yeah, it's good.
Fucking A,
I
dude.
gotta move. Go turn this thing off. Thank you all. We'll see you all next week. Bye bye. I forgot how this works. Beer is good for you. And good night, everyone.